I remember it would have been ACS Winter Ball, I think, or maybe Summer when you were crowned the most influential guy in the year.
Oh yeah.
I want to know if looking back, you feel like well, I guess in a bigger scope as well, like if you achieved everything you wanted to, and if that, I guess, reward kind of mirrors where you think you are now that you're finished.
Yeah, I think that was Summer Ball 2018. I think, look, for me, that was a super proud moment. That year, I think, Canvas obviously launched with the Malcolm X tee and the Malcolm X hoodie. I also directed, a Friends play as well. And that went down really well. Both nights sold out. People loved it. The feedback was amazing. And also we had When Pigs Fly that year as well. So I think for me, it was just super rewarding because it kind of let me know, like, look, what you're doing isn't going like unnoticed or unappreciated or whatever. And, you can always make the argument that you shouldn't need validation from other people. And I totally get that 100%. But I won't sit up there and deny that it wasn't nice to know that people felt that way, and appreciated me in that way. Well, not me, but the work that I was able to help put out with other people. I think, well, did I achieve everything I wanted to achieve at uni? No, I think there's always more I could have done. I think, film is something that I love. I never really got into any like filmic kind of stuff at uni. So, that's one thing I wish I kind of achieved. What else? Yeah, I think, again, just kind of going back to the beginning of the convo, just on the other projects. So like on Canvas, on Prosper, on When Pigs Fly, like, just pushing that maybe a bit longer. I think probably something that I could have done as well. So yeah, I think there's some things I look back on and I'm like, yeah, I kind of didn't achieve all I wanted to, but that's not to say that I didn't achieve anything, for one. And for two, have I lived up to that? I mean, right now I'm only in the like early beginning stages of what I'm doing with Prosper, what, we plan to do with Canvas, what I plan to do with like photography and film and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure if I'm in a position to say I've lived up to it as such. I think when I look at that award and I still have it actually on my bedside, like I have the frame, it's on top of my chest of drawers on my next to my bed. But when I look back at that award, I kind of look at it as, okay, at that moment in time, like that award captured who I was or what I represented at that point in time. And I think since then, again, my journey with like self-doubt and self-belief and, my journey with trying to push things half-heartedly, not doing it all the way, has meant that I kind of haven't lived up to it. Like, I know there's a lot more I could be doing and a lot more that I should be doing. But, yeah, I think in short, I think quickly, just to round it up, I think, yeah, there's a lot that I achieved at uni that I'm proud of, but I know there's a lot more that I could have done. And I know that right now there's a lot more I could be doing. And it's just for me to, again, get over one or two hurdles about, again, the confidence, the self-doubt, the self-belief thing, and really trust in myself and my ability to will things into existence and make things happen. So, yeah, I think that answers that question. Like, I'm definitely proud of the award. I'm definitely proud of what I did at the time, but I know that there's a lot more that I can do, and there's a lot more that I could have done as well.
Yeah, I get that. I guess in many ways it's like the award's like, what's the word, like a flag in the sand kind of thing. Like that was that moment in time, and now it's like the journey still goes on. You're still pushing towards the next thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think also that award kind of was not a redemption. I don't want to use the word redemption, but it was like a validation of my approach. like the year before, I went for ACS president and I didn't get it. And, when I look back at going for ACS president, I kind of went for it like half-heartedly, like, one, because I thought, that's something that I should go for. Like I was school captain at my previous school. People think I'd be great for it. Um, the type of person that people project me, the expectations that other people have of me, that's probably something I should do. I should go for. And I was kind of like, I'm just throwing my hat in the ring. Whatever happens, happens. Whereas, the person I was up against was super determined, had set that goal out and objective for themselves from day one and had worked towards it consistently. Whereas I was just doing it as this feels like something I should do. This feels right. I'll throw my hat in the ring. And obviously I didn't get it because of those reasons. And then that summer kind of told me, okay, this means that your realm of influence is different. It's not going to be in those roles or in that walk of life per se. It's going to be in something that's closer to your heart, something that you actually don't just see as throwing your hat in the ring for, but you have a passion and a drive for, and that happens to be creative outlets. So when I changed my quote unquote approach to having an influence or having an impact or, helping others or bringing a smile to people's faces, it worked because, you can say it was perceived to have worked because of the award I received. So whilst again, the award was a flag in the sand, as in that's what I was able to achieve or that's who I was at that time. For me, it's also a bookmark moment in letting me know, look, if you're going to go for something, one, don't half-ass it, like actually go for it. Two, don't go for it because other people kind of expect you to go for it or that's what other people envision you to be. And three, don't be who you're not. I was trying to be somebody that, deep down I know my drive isn't inclined that way, even though I'm super interested in, policy and politics and having an impact on that front. I know my drive is on creative things and it's just admitting that to myself and not being ashamed of it. So yeah, it was a flag in the sand, but it was also like a bookmark moment. It taught me a lot about myself for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have any follow-ups for that. That's a very comprehensive
I know.
answer.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry about that. I just rambled on.
Nah, that's perfect, man. That's exactly what we need. I
But yeah,
think,
I think, go on. Sorry.
no, I was gonna ask a different question, so finish off.
Oh no, yeah. I was just gonna say, I think because I know like what the objective of this podcast is to kind of like give people things they can learn from, and I'm not saying I've achieved anything to be learned from, so I kind of go from the perspective of what not to do. So like for anybody listening, like what not to do is try and live up to what other people expect you to do, um, and make sure that if you want to be influential, you're doing it on your own terms and you're doing it on something that you have a consistent drive and passion for, as opposed to, yeah, this sounds like something that I should be doing, or it sounds like something that I can do, or I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring with it. Like, no, make sure it's something you're determined and driven to do. So yeah, that's my last one on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a great segue as well, because I was gonna ask, because obviously I asked you before if you wanted to be on the podcast and you were a bit reluctant, but then recently you've had a change of heart. You've achieved a fair amount of things. You've changed your perspective. I was just gonna
Yeah.
ask more so like, yeah, like what really changed and how do you view it, your successes now? Because obviously you just mentioned that you're talking about what not to do, but what specifically is the reason behind your stance on that?
Yeah, I think specifically the reason behind my stance on that is I didn't want to come on the podcast and stunt like, I've achieved something or I've done something great when I'm still on the journey myself and I'm still learning myself. So I wanted to come from the perspective of like learn from what I am doing wrong or learn from what I've done incorrectly or learn from the fact that I'm still on this journey. And when you first approached me, my mind went to, oh man, am I going to have to get on there and talk about, yeah, I achieved this. So, go out there and do it this way. And yeah, I've done X, Y, Z. And it's like, no, after a while, I kind of realized no, that's not what you're on there to do. You're on there to just add a different perspective to life and hopefully give some people that they can learn from. And what better thing to learn from than from mistakes and from, not getting it right and from being on the journey yourself and being transparent and being open. And so that's why my perspective changed because, and I think this is true in life as well. And something I need to keep telling myself, like there's so much learning you can do from quote unquote losses and mistakes. There's a Jay-Z line on 444 that I love so much. It's on band. It's literally one line that goes, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. And the next bar is like, it's not a pain, it's a blessing or something along those lines. And I think that perspective is just great for self-development and growing as a person. And I think not enough times did I drum that into myself at uni. And even now to this day, like one thing I do want to emphasize though, it's great to make mistakes and it's okay to make mistakes totally. But the key thing is to learn from them. I think one thing that I'm falling into right now is like kind of making similar mistakes over and over. It's like, you've made this mistake before, you know what it looks like. When you're telling yourself to learn from your mistakes, you actually have to learn from them. It's not enough to say, oh yeah, mistakes are great as long as you learn from them. You actually have to take the action. You actually have to take the action to learn from them as well. So that's why I would say change my perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. I think I've always had a stance where it's like, I think Gary Vee touched on it once at one point in time, but it's like, if Jeff Bezos like reported every day of his life from zero to obviously the richest man in the world, we'd have a much, people would much appreciate that much. Cause it's all good and well, you see these like mega rich guys, but for example, documentaries seem to be doing so much better than that. I guess the final product, if that kind of makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm articulating that right, but like the fact that so many people flock towards the Michael Jordan doc, for example, to see like what was going through his mind at the time. People always look over the journey, and you see these rich guys, these guys that are like selling platinum albums or million shirts or like million subs on YouTube, but it's like you don't really know how they got. And yeah, I think I've always had the perspective of let's try and fill that gap, because some of the guys I've met at uni, and I'm sure you have a similar mindset, some of these guys are going to be like world beaters. These are going to change the world, do some crazy stuff, and just being able to watch that and observe it's a crazy thing to see the progress day by day.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think it's actually more gratifying when you see how somebody got there. It's more gratifying when you see the journey instead of just seeing the outcome and always seeing the outcome. You always take it for what it is. Whereas when you see the journey and you see what it took to get there, you actually appreciate what they have now and, how they got and their position in life at the moment. So yeah, I think your podcast does a great job of doing that because not only are you grabbing people in a stage of their lives where they're still in the journey, but the questions that you ask and the perspective and the goal of the objective of each episode is to do that exactly, like encapsulate the journey. So yeah, you're right. It's becoming more and more important, and I'm glad people are realizing it more that these things are a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to get there, but when you do, it's also important that, and again, this is true as well. It's important to know that when you've achieved success, don't be afraid to talk about the journey because you don't want to sell anybody dreams. Like when people talk about, I remember when I graduated last summer and I spoke to my brothers about it, I made sure to tell them, hey, look, what what you saw that day was just the final day on what was a 3-year long process. So totally agree.